Good day and welcome back to another DBZ Dokkan battle video. In this video we are going to be taking a look at how good the Deadly or Dastardly Last Resort Golden Frieza and Sorbet Teq unit is after their Extreme Z Awakening. So basically Golden Frieza and Sorbet are a joined forces category lead of 77%. Tech type Key plus 3, HP attack and defense of 50%. They cause supreme damage with a high chance of stunning the enemy, and they raise extreme class allies attack and defense by 20% for one turn. They have attack and defense of 120%, plus an additional attack and defense of 100% for 7 turns from the start of turn, and they will have defense of 100% starting from the 8th turn. They have Key plus 6, perform a critical hit and stun the attacked enemy within the same turn after receiving an attack. They also have an additional attack of 50% and reduce damage received by 50% when HP is 50% or less. So a lot of 50% there, but it's pretty good. It means that should you take them into an SBR or something and you're a bit low on health, they do generally become a nice decent little tanky option there. Obviously, they're not necessarily a unit that's designed for specifically anything but SBR, so I think that's where you're mainly going to want to use them. But it is at least interesting to see. They have new Frieza Army, Brainiacs, Coward, Cold Judgment, Thirst for Conquest, Prodigies, and Shine the Limit. A bit of a weird link set, if I'm entirely honest with you. It's not like the craziest. And the Unjoined Forces, Terrifying Conquerors, Final Trump Card, and Battle of the Wits, which is all fairly decent categories, if I'm honest. So yeah, overall, that's really much everything you need to know about them. Realistically speaking, I think you want to build them into additional, or possibly even dodge. If I'm honest, this unit. The thing is, right? Like, yes, they have guaranteed crits, but it's only after they receive an attack, which means generally you have to place them in the first slot. So you're not really going to get it unless you use an item, which is fine. Then you'll very realistically get it, or if you're below 50% HP, then it's probably okay to put them in the first slot, depending on your content, of course. So realistically, you want to maybe look at additionals, mainly because of the high chance to stun. And maybe a little bit of dodge, just so they can obviously get themselves out of the way of maybe some attacks that might be a bit too much for them. Here we don't have too many links active, but we do have some decent support. We're on 170% leader skill. These guys don't have a 200% lead yet, but 1.8 million, fairly decent, pretty consistent, I think. And yeah, pretty decent stuff. 1.8 million doesn't seem like a lot, but they do bring stunning, and if you can get them in that first slot, they do have the ability to stun. They raise everyone's attack and defense, which is something that's super important when you look at a unit. One thing I don't necessarily like is the fact that they don't really link that well with anyone. They have decent links, to be said. Thirst for Conquest, Cold Judgment, Brainiacs, these are all fine, honestly speaking. Coward is probably the one I dislike the most. I know it obviously suits like the Sorbets, like some of these joined forces units and that, but it's just a very inconsistent link to have realistically on any major team, especially a Terrifying Conquerors team where most of them don't have Coward. So yeah, that's probably the one where I'm questioning it a little bit. Here though, we do have some decent links up now. You can see that defense looking pretty decent. Obviously this is a best case scenario, but yeah, looking pretty decent. The 3 major links for this card are actually very powerful. And weirdly enough, yes, you can get them by using a good old C-list over here. So pretty interesting, I would say, at least from that perspective. 1.9 million, also pretty decent. Again, no major support on the rotation. The Frieza is not a support for this Frieza, as far as I remember. Frieza is just a support for the Wicked Bloodlines category or the Fusion category, so they weren't getting any real support there, so very easily could have been higher, which I think is fine. I don't really think you need to see these guys pop off. They can definitely get 2.3, 2.4 million before factoring in their damage boost. If you factor in their below 50% HP boost, we're looking at about 3 million. But I think overall they just look like a solid option. I think they're a solid floater. They're a solid option to use if you're a bit low on tech units, if you're looking for some kind of solution. I think they could be something that's, you know, a little bit more interesting an option. But overall, honestly speaking, they are quite solid, I would say, if unspectacular. I think they're a solid free-to-play unit that doesn't blow your mind. I don't think there's something like AGL Gohan, who I think is an exceptional unit, clearly designed to help players fill a slot against content. These guys are decent, very decent. I could use these guys in Extreme Tech. ESBR probably will for my free-to-play run. So there's plenty of good uses for them. I just think that they don't necessarily have enough to be an exceptional free-to-play unit. But when you fall below 50%, don't count them out. You will get a sizable damage increase. You get 50% damage reduction. They could definitely come in clutch, and we'll see them operate in a couple of situations. They could definitely become clutch in a lot of situations. So don't rule these guys out. Don't count your eggs before they hatch. They look really, really solid. Link-wise, I would say just focus on Brainiac's Core Judgment, Thirst for Conquest. They have their own key from their passive, so you don't really need Sharing the Limit at the end of the day. And New Frieza Army, although a very powerful link, is just something you're not going to get. And Brainiacs and Prodigies, Coward and Prodigies is also something you're not really going to get. I think you can only get New Frieza Army from Chilai. It's literally the only viable unit, so unless you have Chilai, you're not going to be able to do it. But overall, I think decent. Like I said, Brainiacs, Core Judgment, Thirst for Conquest, these are great links, and you can actually get them together. So more than fine from that perspective, and they're very powerful. Altogether, they add up to over 50% defense and 50% attack. So that's pretty solid, all things considered. But yeah, that's going to be it from me. I think in terms of this unit, I think overall pretty exciting, pretty solid. Let me know what you guys think in terms of their performance. If you even bothered EZAing them. I do think they're worth the effort. I think they will come in handy. But yeah, we just have to see what happens. But yeah, I'd love to hear what you guys think overall for them as a unit. And I think it'll be pretty cool to see. But that's it from me. Take care, stay safe, and bye.